Hello, hello, hello. This week has gone very quickly, but not too bad. The eye is getting better and better. Maybe one of you lovely people could just do a sound check for me. Make sure that you can hear me. And Stephen Matthew, I believe, is negative on his COVID tests. A little bit sniffly, but he's apparently got some sort of job this week that must mean he's okay. Hi, Jenny and Francine. Hello. Richard. Verpy. Hi. And Kenny. Jolly good, you can hear me. Good. Well, there's something that I really wanted to share with you that has been on my mind all this week. And it probably has been on yours. I mean, we're going through so much about global warming, climate change, various wars, water problems, pollution, people land grabbing and political unrest and things. And what I've discovered is that the foundational element of all that is to do with our soil. I didn't realize to the depth of how important our soil is, the health of it is, and what's actually happening. And there's it's like 95% of all of our food comes from the soil, and even 95% of our antibiotics used for us humans and for animals comes from the soil. But there is a growing problem. There is an incredible amount of, what do they call it? Desertification. Maybe that's it. Sorry. Anyway, there's a huge proportion of our land. I believe it's like 50% of the land is degraded at the moment. And the UN and all kinds of different ecologists are saying that we might have 40 to 50 years, and that our world population is going from 6 billion to 9 billion, pardon me. And it's, we don't realize how much the soil is the foundational clue that everything, all of the climate change and all, a large portion of it is to do with the degrading of our soil. So, but there are solutions, especially if we realize what they are. I know a lot of people, I've seen interviews of people saying, what are you doing to help climate change? And they're going, well, I'm changing my straws from plastic, or I'm using fewer plastic bags and things like that. But actually, that's more of a social problem that can be corrected with laws, regulations, consciousness and things. But the deeper issue is something that will take a lot of us standing up and paying attention and taking more responsibility in order to pressure the politics of this world to make changes. Because in America, the farmers, 50% of the topsoil is gone right now, and it's within 15 to 12 inches of topsoil where 87% of all of life happens. And one of the things that's happened is that the microorganisms are dying out because we're over overusing the land on one level. We're leaving it open and all the water is evaporating, and eventually, little by little, it's becoming a desert. So I've gotten a few photographs together that I want to share with you to begin with. Here we go. I mean, even the farmers have no idea of what's going on. They've been needing to irrigate more, therefore they're taking away and using the groundwater more in order to do that. Where in a normal situation, if they weren't leaving their fields open and the water was evaporating, then they wouldn't necessarily need to do that. In addition, there are so many people needing food. This is a map of where most of the deserts lie, and it's we need so much food. We're growing so many people on the planet, and they're trying to keep up using pesticides and all kinds of other things, fertilizers, but it's not sustainable. But I was watching this one ecologist on TED Talks today that in Africa, what they've set up projects of how to help, because one of the other problems is cattle roaming and eating all the grass, and the grass, the vegetation holds the water, and in addition, it if it's not there, a lot of carbon goes out into the environment, and it's more than just pollution of cars that's doing this. As you can see, the rows and rows of open soil. It's, I mean, we just sit behind and watch our telephones and do all these things, and I suppose in a lot of ways we're hopeless, but we do have a few things. We do have a few things we can do. One is that we've got a microphone. We can express our concern. The more of us that speak out, the more the politicians need to listen, because the other thing we have in our favor is that we can vote. We have to realize what is the true essence. We need to come back, and in a way, our responsibility to ourselves and the future legacy. I mean, what's happening in the soil right now is we're borrowing soil that should be there for the future. We are so misusing it. I mean, it's not a happy subject to talk about tonight, but soil can be rejuvenated, can be revitalized, and this one particular ecologist that I saw on TED Talks today was saying that in Africa, where he's working, is they're learning how to control the livestock and the movement of them. And if you do that, then you can give some light relief. In addition, what they had been doing was what happens is that let me go on to the next thing. The next photographs. Let me show you these guys. There are a lot of green grasslands around the world, and they're dying out for various reasons. Here's a very green grass that's had a lot of water for months, and then what happens, it starts to turn brown for 8 months, and then it needs to be mulched. But what happens is, because it isn't, it starts to oxidize, and then that creates like a hardness across the soil so that the new growth can't penetrate it. So what people have been doing is burning these fields in preparation to allow the new growth to come. But that's putting so much carbon out into the environment that it is not helping. I mean, while large plains of pasture that has allowed all cow livestock to run free and everything, they're just blitzing the place. But under controlled environments, they're finding that what had become a desert, and some of these, this was a desert apparently, this picture here, and with controlled grazing, it's starting to come back. And in order to hold the water in the earth, and therefore the microbes can work and live, this was a dried out riverbed, and it was all turning to desert on the other side. But once they started to do this, then it's coming back alive. So we need to start being more conscious and think more about this, because it's the foundational aspect of everything. And it's the UN is saying that soil erosion must be stopped. They can say all these things, we've probably heard all these things and seen all these pictures and all, but we haven't been informed that there is a positive way of doing this, even with climate change and just everything. I mean, if it isn't switched, people will start having mini wars because they're hungry. Did you know that 40 million people in the United States are starving at the moment? I didn't realize that. And there's a 50% of American soil has been eroded and is gone. It's not something to sort of close your eyes at. The other thing is that to be healthy soil, you need 3 to 6% of organic matter. And India, 65% of the land is 0.5%. Europe is 1%. And as I said, the United States actually has lost 50% of their topsoil to begin with. And all the deforestation of like Brazil, we need the forests. The topsoil needs to have a certain amount of protection, be in the shade sometimes. This open, it is, as I said, it's just evaporating, and it's also releasing the carbon that's in the soil that's healthy into the atmosphere, making it not so healthy. I would love to have your input about all this, because the ecological aspect of things needs to become more a political thing, not a social law thing. It's our future. I'm going to read your messages. Leslie Marshall says glyphosate is ubiquitous in the US, I know. It is in organic wine, honey, mother's embryos, Chinese takeaway, I have to say. And Leslie goes on to say that Rachel Carson spoke about this so long ago, and money doesn't talk, it swears. She loves my input because it's so positive, but we need to change the campaign relentlessly to counteract the Earth destroyers. Yep, we have to take some power in our hand, but not necessarily with war, but with conscious contemplating and motivation. And Julie says, everything is connected. Man has a bad habit of being forced to be reactive instead of proactive for the future. And in some stores are no longer plastic bags for fruit and vegetables, but reusable bags, which you can buy for a small amount. The thing is, Francine, in some ways it's plastic is the problem. But we need to go deeper, because it's really to do with the soil. And it's to do with our ability to be conscious and step up there. And know that we have a power of the vote. And we have Facebook and social media, and we can start learning more. There is a website called SaveTheSoil.org, which has an enormous amount of information. Plus, you can become a caretaker, and they have newsletters that come out, and you can, just through learning more and knowing how to stand and where to stand, is really, really important. There are some farms that they have shown that with these new methods of controlling the livestock can help irrigate in a different way. Hi, Beta. Francine says, here in the Netherlands are also many poor people that needed food from different food banks. I know. And a lot of this is because our soil is being eroded. We are having more deserts, but we're having more people, and we need more food. And it's like a catch-22, of which certainly the starving have no idea what is really the basic cause of all of this. They do know they need food. And there's, in the next 40 to 50 years, if this isn't solved, there'll be an enormous amount of people dying. I mean, World War II had 11 million people that died, and it happens that in like 2045, the UN is saying that there'll be maybe 1.7 billion people that will die from starvation. And I certainly don't want to see that happening, and I'm going to do more studying and understanding more, and it's and keep encouraging all of us to speak out, learn, protest with understanding and wisdom, know the details. And it's like, without life, there's no soil. So if there's no life in the soil, there's no life for us. I mean, if you have healthy soil, you get healthy plants. And if you have healthy animals, you have healthy humans. And then there's healthy water, and there's a healthy planet. That's the process. And if there is no life, it becomes sand, becomes empty and dry. It's important. So I thought this week's meditation will work on using green and to send healing on the planet. And we can start doing that in a second. Let me get us ready. Our best, Francine, is to send letters to your politicians about your concern. Become parts of groups and things like that have this. We have strength with numbers, and we have a voice, and the more of us that speak out together, the more we'll have a change. Stefan says, a lot of this is being driven by profit. The land needs a rest so alternative areas can be set aside to farm. Maybe 1 year of land being farmed, then rested for a year, alternative year on year. Wars and migration is going to be a big problem. Yep, it's true. So we got to start speaking out, and we got to vote, and we have to get issues out there. You can set up Alves. Oh my goodness. There are different places on social media where you can set up a petition. We need to raise consciousness, because it's like this little quiet, slumbering thing that's happening. And since we know that it's starting to happen, we can open eyes. We need to open even our own eyes. It's before it really hits us, and then it might be too late. I mean, there's saying in America, the farmers are like right on an edge of what to do, because the soil is so degraded that they can't even raise the food that they need to raise. And yes, alternating the fields, I always thought that's what farmers did, but maybe the demand is getting so great they can't do that, but they're going to have to. We're going to have to maybe eat less. But the thing is that we have a voice, and we have a vote. And we've got social media. I'm saying thank you to it today. Oh, dear Lord. And most of all, radiate your own being. It's goodness. So let's do our meditation. Okay? I will send it over. Jenny, it's true. It is being kept a secret. And Monsanto isn't so great either, because they're controlling the seed production and things, as I understand it. But it's a global problem, bigger than Monsanto, I have to say. If you look at the replay of the image of where the deserts are at the moment, it's quite revealing. So coming to our meditation evening, I've chosen the spring green with light coming through, because spring green is very healing color. And it is the color of the life force. It is the color that comes And it is the color within ourselves that helps heal. So let's go into our stillness, whether you're sitting or you're lying down. Let's be calm. And for a while, focus your attention on the color of spring green. And on each breath, take it within, allowing it to become flowing through your whole body. Feel the color as you gaze upon the image. Feel the life force of the leaves and the light passing through it. And be still. So close your eyes, taking the green within. Take a breath in and hold that color within and release. Breathe in the green and hold it and release. Breathe in the green. Take it through your body and release. Once again, open your eyes and gaze upon the color. And allow the healing aspect to begin to go through your body, starting at the top of your head. And breathe in and soothe your head and your eyes, your nose, your throat, your ears, the muscles in your face. Relax. And take it to your throat, your shoulders, closing your eyes, and feel the color passing down your arms and your wrists and fingers, through your chest, your lungs, your heart, all your internal organs, and your hips, your thighs, your knees, your calves and ankles and toes. And take the color into the earth. And heal the soil. Feel the spring green coming like little sprouts through the rich organic soil. Heal the micro organs that are there. We work so together, the soil and the microorganisms and us. And say thank you. And send love and healing. And feel the humidity in the water nourishing the entire earth. And return back to your body, traveling up, all the way up with the spring green on the breath, through your spinal cord, to your neck, back to your head, and out to the light of the sun, and further to your spirit. And feel the union as it comes back to your body, balanced, and come to your heart. And place this wonderful spring green healing energy, nurturing, healing any wounds, and feel its wisdom, its life force. And I want you to radiate that green out from your heart into your womb, and expand it to your village, to your city, to your country. And on the breath, expand it around the world. Surround the world with consciousness of green healing and understanding and protection and regeneration. The green is revitalizing all the deserts. Cover every place, every land with spring green. And in silence for a few moments, be there. And slowly return back to your country, to your city, your town, your home, your living room. And come back to your heart center. And check within your body any places of tension that needs healing, releasing, and place the spring green there. Breathe in, hold it, and release. Breathe in, hold it, and release. Breathe in, hold it, and release. And in your own time, slowly open up your eyes and come back to your room and our stream. So the more that we become aware and know the strength of our individual ability, we are participating in raising the consciousness to save the world, to save the soil. And even just doing this meditation helps with the psychic aspect, because it all starts up there and comes down, and I believe in the power of thought, the power of healing, the power of love, and finding groups that you can work together and bring our strengths together and speak and share and come up with ways to influence the political climate. Hi Garnet, happy to see you here in Roshan. Namaste. You might want to watch the replay again, because we're talking about saving the soil and what things that are being done around the world. And there are a lot of really good things. So at first you might react with, oh my God, but there are a lot of really good things happening, and we need to raise consciousness so people even know that, so they'll have the courage to speak out. If you don't know, if you're not well versed and wise when you speak, you will speak from fear as opposed to conscious, positive way to work. And what I like very much with SaveTheSoil.org and many other organizations, they know we can change it. They know the power of what we are collectively. We must awaken and not be asleep. But know that you don't have to be full of fear and, be constructive. We have time. There are solutions. So let's go forward. What I want to remind you about is the workshop I'm doing here in Gingerland during the weekends of July. And Jenny, I look forward to meeting you, because you have booked in the 30th, I believe, of July. Go for it, Julie. We're all in it together. And yes, the more, we could do this meditation every day, sending green, and it would really help, I have to say. So I'm going to just show you, in case you didn't realize, about my workshop. And you can go on Eventbrite and get more information, or you can email me or message me if you want to know more. But I've put up a really big gazebo outside, and as you know, Gingerland has a lot of artwork, and we'll have tea and biscuits and spend time playing with color. And I have several different ideas that I was put through in my training to touch the creative aspects of color within myself, my own imagination. We all have one. You know, there's a difference between fantasy and imagination. Imagination is the doorway to your soul purpose and higher spiritual, divine aspects of the life force. And fantasy, I mean, it's a good beginning, but it has a ceiling. And I was trained to open up my imagination, i.e. my soul purpose and creativity, so that we not only within ourselves radiate a peaceful, happy existence, and wise when life's always going to be challenged. Life will always challenge us. And I certainly just went through one, but I feel very bonny now. And we'll see where it's going to take me. But I'm so excited to do a live workshop and meet people now that we can. And we'll play. Hi, Richard. I know, it's okay. Drew wishes we lived closer. I do too. And I don't think there's a way of making it live. I'm not that advanced with all this technological stuff. Plus, there's something about being in person with you all. And we'll just see where it goes. Denise is in Scotland. I love Scotland, Denise. It's really one of my special places. There have been times I thought I was in Edinburgh when I was asked to exhibit all of my Olympic artwork at the Lloyd's Bank there. And Edinburgh is just so magical. I don't know where you live, Denise, but I certainly thought, oh dear. And there's something about the history of it and the quality of it that really touches my heart. And then I love England. Ever since I can remember, I fantasized coming to England. And when I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show, it was like, wow. And then dream came true. I fell in love with an Englishman, as you know. And I've been here ever since. I've lived here, since 1971. More time than in America. I feel like I'm a universal citizen. And more we have to become global citizens within our diversity and respect the difference of how unique every one of us are and rejoice in that and find the unity of our individual self, because there's only one of each of you. There's only one of me. And we need to love ourselves and find the beauty of who we are and then radiate it and spread it about in the world. Yeah. I know, Francine. I'd love to meet you all, but not yet. Someday. But at least we've got this and we can talk to each other and listen to really good music on my son's live. He did a really good job last week after going through COVID, and I listened to it again on the replay. And the colors were amazing, and his ability to mix all the sounds and everything, he's getting so good at it. I'm really proud of him. Anyway, it's time for us to say good night and think green, send lots of love, kiss the soil, speak to it, walk barefoot on it, be one with it. Roshan, you know of Sadhguru. What did he do? 100 miles on a motorbike at 65, going around promoting Save the Soil. So Sadhguru has got SaveTheSoil.org, and there's all kinds of things happening in India. And Stefan's saying we can start by each of us recycling our own garden waste, vegetable waste, into the gardens we have by composting the things we throw away. Composting everything we can on the micro level and pressuring councils to adopt ways to doing this on a larger scale, even in cities. I totally agree. Set up a petition, Stefan, and I'll sign it. And what can I say? Have a good night, and if you can't come, you don't live near me, share the workshop with people that might be living near me. And thank you all for coming again. And I'll probably put up the live probably after lunch tomorrow. And keep thinking, keep loving, keep being who you are. And I think that's it. Well, may your week be really great. And all I can say is thank you for coming. And lots of love.